finish line. You can't get there from here.
Strap on your feet bag. Wide Army. Running with scissors.
HWYRT.
HWYRT.
How come you're not running right now? No, seriously, grab some headphones and go for a run while you listen.
Come on, Bray.
And now, without further ado, here are Bryan and Peter.
Bryan, it's been 2 whole weeks, a fortnight, I say, since I've laid eyes upon your visage in person. Your countenance is before me. I know you're going to tell me every single thing about the race, but you're really going to do it for everybody because you've already recorded it without me.
I invited you.
You did? You invited me, but I was going up to my mother's to ride out the big storm we had here in the Northeast. Well, actually, most of the country, 50% of the country. And I couldn't make it, and I couldn't participate. But you have a little something for all of us to hear. Who was part of this? Do you just talk to yourself?
I usually talk to myself, but
Yes.
when I hit record,
Yeah.
I like to have a guest, and so I had Brewmaster Will and Internet Dan,
Who both ran the race.
the St. Croix Scenic 50K,
So
2026 version.
So we're going to sit here and listen to that.
We can do it.
But just before we do that,
Yes.
I do want to say to you that 11 years ago, for real, right now, 11 years ago, when we were training for our first Boston,
Okay, I don't know what's coming.
we performed feats of strength because we had a humongous snowstorm
Yeah.
in late January of 2015. And I must have shoveled for 4 hours or more because my mom has this super long driveway, and it was just...
It never stopped snowing.
And I just I was in the best shape of my life.
Yep.
And here's what 11 years means. 11 years means now when I shovel, I only shovel the absolute minimum that I need to do. I'm not a completionist of an area. I stop every third or fourth shovel load. I put the shovel on the ground, and I look up at the sky. And I remember where my breathing is.
Take me.
And I check to make sure I don't have shooting pains in either arm. And then I go back to it. And sometimes I don't even do a full shovel load. Sometimes it's like I'm at the beach, just moving sand, it's like gentle. I'm just saying I'm not the man I was.
Trendsetter.
Yet. Yeah. And yet. I moved so many cubic feet of snow. I'm so proud of myself. I didn't die. I'm not really that sore. So I think it's a win.
Congratulations. You know what I did in that intervening 11 years?
Everything.
I bought a snowblower.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Boy, it's the first time I've really thought about it.
I have a gigantic snowblower.
This is how I know I'm mid-50s. I'm really thinking about it.
Because, and after I started using it, like this shoveling is for the birds.
It's dumb, right? It's totally dumb.
Yeah.
All right. We'll have a future episode where we talk about Consumer Reports, which is the best snowblower for me to acquire.
Sure.
But first, how was your run today?
So we're here with Brewmaster Will and Internet Dan. Internet Dan is, we all have to thank for having the great idea of, one, graduating chiropractic school and becoming a doctor of chiropractic, and then having the other great idea of celebrating this on St. Croix with a very difficult race and cajoling many people to join him, including his brother and his sister-in-law and his mother and his girlfriend and a whole, 3 generations joining. And then Will and I came with our better halves, as it were. And we had a good week. But I want to get, since I have done all of this nonsense before, I want to get from you guys what your first impressions, sort of getting off the plane, standing on the tarmac, and just being on the island for that first half hour, which is just before sunset, and the angle of the sun is very intense, and it's probably like the hottest part of the day. Dan, what were you thinking when you got there?
Right when I exited the plane, I stopped for a second, which is something you should not do standing in a line getting off a plane. Uh, and I took a deep breath and felt the sun on my face. And it felt like that moment where you have the first beautiful spring day and everybody's outside and you have your windows open to air out your house. And yeah, it was pretty fantastic, even though we were standing on a tarmac.
Will, what were your thoughts getting off the plane?
So it was pretty unusual to grab the bags and then wait in the warm area or getting the bags to come while having a free rum at the airport. I'd never done that before. They don't do that in Boston. I actually have never had that happen anywhere I've been to before. So I thought, wow, this is going to be an event. Like, this is something different.
This is a different kind of place.
Yeah.
So we all got settled into our accommodations, and the next day we met over at the Leatherback Brewing, where the race director gave a preview of the course, and we picked up our bibs and everything, and we got to see sort of the field of people who were running as well. Will, what were your thoughts as we were waiting for pizza and hearing about the course?
As I looked around, there were a lot of very young, fit people looking like they're ready to go, who are excited and psyched. And I was like, I'm excited, but I'm nervous at the same time. But there was an energy there that was electric, which was awesome. And it wasn't a mob. Like, it was like you had a big group of friends with you, which I liked the vibe.
Dan, thoughts?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was more of like a pretty laid back environment. And as you mentioned before, like it did have a really small town feel to it and be like, oh, where's race check-in? Where's the race director? Where do you pick up merch? It's that tent like over there, like just that pop-up tent, like, and that's fantastic. And people even picking up their bibs were chit-chatting and just kind of hanging out. A vast majority of racers were having a beer. To me, that really leans into the whole like, this is trail running. We're here for a good time. So that was really nice. And I was surprised at the amount of people I met from Minnesota that were there. And like we shared a table with a solo traveler from New York City who was just there just to be out and about in the warmth. So like the race course breakdown, like while being mildly like comical and comedic relief, I thought was really good. And there's not many race directors that have just straight up given me a hug when I introduced myself. So like it felt really at home.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will also add a home where you never go inside except like to go to sleep. I don't think I was behind a solid wall for the entire week during daylight hours. Everything is just done outside or in a structure that's a roof with some beams and no windows, no doors to speak of. That, that's sort of like almost an intangible part of the atmosphere, is that you're sort of living your summer life all the time. Okay, so it's Sunday morning, 1 week ago. We're under the red lights so that the red street lights so the sea turtles don't mistake the street lights for the moon and wander into the forest. And so we're in this red glow at the start at Cane Bay Beach. And it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and we're all about to start a really arduous race. Will, what were you thinking at that moment?
I was glad it wasn't 90 degrees already. Like, it felt like a little cool, and there was a breeze. And I thought, kept thinking to myself, if I got a breeze, I can manage this, that's great. And so it was great huddle down there. And again, everybody was ready to go and there was excitement. So I thought, all right, this thing is really happening. So let's do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you trained for it, so I'm glad you had that. Dan, what were you thinking?
You just blew my mind. I had no idea that's what the red lights were for. So that's
Yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
cool. I was like, oh, they just have red streetlights in odd sections here. Um, I mean, I think it was the same for me, no matter what race it is. I'm pretty nervous at the race start regardless. Um, but it had a different energy to it. I mean, it felt like a handful of people, some dressed for, a 10K, others in it for the long haul. Um, yeah, I mean, I think the hardest part of the day was I got there half an hour early. You guys were very close to the race start, and it's like you had that a little bit of the luxury of like, we're gonna walk to the start line, whereas like I snagged a ride. Um, and to me, that's the worst part is sitting and waiting. And it's like, can we just go? Like, let's just get going. But yeah, I was very happy that it wasn't swelteringly hot yet. Uh, Temperature is one of the biggest downfalls that I have. Like, I'll run in 20 degrees, 30 degrees. I mean, for me, perfect is like right around 50, 55. So, yes, the breeze, which came into play later in the day, was a big savior. Um, but yeah, the start line felt more happy anticipation versus nervous jitters. This is going to be really, really hard.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe there were only one or two people who knew they were going to have a fantastic day, maybe six, and everybody else was just in it for the event. Okay, so let's break this down. The race for relay runners is in three sections, so we might as well talk about it that way. That first section, obviously, we're in complete darkness and we're running east toward sunshine for or daybreak rather, 5 or 6 miles on the road. Not a very heavily trafficked road at 6 o'clock in the morning, I will say. And then we do a couple of miles of very intense vertical switchback mountain bike trail, single track, and then we're sort of on class 2 or 3 roads, however you want to look at it, but sort of jeep roads or mildly paved roads up once we've climbed all of that altitude. What were your impressions, Dan, of that first leg of the race?
That was kind of my favorite part, in all honesty, and that might have just been like that pre-race adrenaline, or it was flat. Um, but the temperatures were nice, the crowds were nice. I was racing with my brother again for the first time since I think 2021. And that was pretty cool. Uh, and just it's that like really relaxed moment of like you're just trying to find your pace, not go out too fast. But the sunrise was beautiful. And I think that did a really good job of distracting me from what we were doing because I didn't really know like how many miles in are we, what pace are we doing? We were just conversational and chit-chatting. Um, Tom and I were trying to figure out why this person kept running about like 5 or 6 feet in front of us, and when we tried to move past them, they would speed up, which was like kind of annoying. Like just let me overtake you. But then we figured out at the first aid station that they didn't have a headlamp and they were trying to run in front of us so that because Tom and I had like split the difference on each side of them so that they could see.
Yes,
So
important.
yeah. So like that first section, I would say I was delightfully distracted.
Awesome. Will, how about you?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the headlamp. So that was the first time I'd done that. And it was true, like people would kind of glob together a little bit and use other's light, which was, I think, good as a pack. And then as it started to get lighter, you just look on the left and you're right at the ocean, the waves crashing in. all the forest and hills on the right, and winding your way along these roads that, you'd love to have a sports car drive down or something. It was really great. Like, it just was totally beautiful. I'm like, wow, this is great. And we weren't going at a super fast pace. We were kind of chilling our way through, and I was like, this is just awesome. Really enjoyed it.
That's great. And in my first try 3 years ago, I think that first section was also my favorite. Let me fill you in on how my first 10 miles were. So I was getting over the flu, and I thought it was all done. All I had was this sort of nagging cough that would come and go, and had pretty much gone. And starting the race, I just felt off. And then the first 6 miles or so, I coughed about every 2 or 3 breaths and could not get my temperature regulation nailed down. Like, I was just pushing my feet forward, and I literally thought of dropping about every mile. Like, okay, Will, you're going to have to do this on your own. I felt terrible. And then, as Will well remembers, once we got to the top of that single track area with about 3 miles before the second rest stop, which had a porta potty, I had lower GI distress like you can't believe, and had to walk, did a little run, walk, shuffling, and I was just really out of sorts. And without becoming too graphic, everything was resolved once we got to that porta potty at the second rest stop, and I felt much better. Still hacking away, constantly coughing, could not clear out whatever that was. But the first 10 miles were really tough. Once we finished that, I went to the restroom, ate a little bit. Well, we'll get into all the rest stops, but ate a little bit at the rest stop and started taking a full salt pill every single rest stop, in addition to all the other electrolytes I was taking. I started to at least feel like I had some athleticism, and that I was supposed to be there, which I did not feel for one moment in the entire first 10 miles. Section 2. So section 2 is running around on the ridge on a lot of Jeep roads through the rainforest, and then a very long descent for about 2 miles till you get down to the other side of the island. You're along the coast again, and then kind of a hot 2 miles because you're completely exposed in the sun through a couple of rest stops. And that's how that one ends. Will, what were your thoughts about that, from that first or that second rest stop through to the base of the Crusher?
So along the tops, again, you got to see water you're still on the left side, since you're going around in a big circle. But from way up on the top of the hill was amazing. Again, the sights were awesome. I really liked running through the jungle. Like, I liked the ascent when we took all the switchbacks up on the trail. I didn't really feel like I was trail running. Like, it just, we were walking up some pieces and then we'd run, and mix was really good. Then we had some rain coming down the backside through like this twisty, crazy, cracked concrete road with massive trees and a river on the side. And it's like an Indiana Jones set or something that we're running through. And like, this is amazing. And then it got real hot at the bottom. And that's kind of when I started going, all right, I'm at 20 something. I'm getting tired.
Go ahead, Dan.
As we've talked about, my salt intake and sweat, very salty sweaters. Like, I kept my salt intake pretty high for the day, and by that first aid station, I already drank a liter of water. And as we started to ease into things further, I brought that up to a liter and a half. So I had 3 soft flasks with me that I was doing my best to empty before or in between each aid station. And what I really liked about that aid station at the 10-mile mark, that's a transition, is the people that were there ready to go, that were fresh, were helping people out as they came in, even though that they weren't specifically working that aid station. I thought that was really helpful, and it's just another aspect of like the trail running or long distance running community that's like hey, we're all shooting for this distance. What can we help you with to get in and out of these aid stations the best that you can? I got a second coat of sunscreen as I was staring at the ocean, which, like, keeping the ocean on your left for that first loop, pretty fantastic. The views were great. It was just kind of like rolling hills. At this point, I'm still surprised that we're still mostly on asphalt. Uh, I really did love the trail switchbacks in from like miles 5 to 10. Um, and I think we're mostly on asphalt from 10 on to 15 or so. I know we got some gravel mixed in. Um, but overall, pretty wide open, non-technical trail, which is like really good to keep your pace. And that second leg is when my body started flirting with cramping, which I think was just like it's 70 to 80 degrees warmer than what I've been training in. So
that's a big
like
difference.
like it doesn't matter how much time I spend in a sauna.
Nope.
I was like, it is what it is.
Yeah,
so I just kept the salt intake high and keep moving.
It's gonna catch up with you, and it did catch up with Will and I.
Yeah. Yes, it did.
So let's see. That section for me was absolutely there was about 11 miles in there that I felt great, and I will say at that 10-mile transition station, I just started this practice. I ate a tiny peanut butter and jelly square. I ate a couple bananas. I ate a couple oranges. I took a salt pill. Oh, and I had a regular 2-liter bladder on my back. I half filled it with ice and then, my mix and water, and then put ice in my hat. And Will reminded me, like, no, also hold an ice cube as you go. And whether or not I was feeling overheated or I felt fine, I just kept this up every single aid station. I did the same thing, and I think it really helped me maintain from that point on some semblance of athleticism. Okay, section 3, the last 11 miles, is a couple of miles basically straight up. There is a point at which I think you can touch your toes without trying. It's so steep. And that is on an old roadbed for sure, and that's brutal. And we're at the hottest part of the race because the sun is fully out, and we still maintained some cloud cover and breeze the whole time, which really was amazing. But that thing is called the Crusher, and then you repeat going back the other way a whole bunch of Jeep roads, and then eventually you run down what they call the Beast, which is a curvy asphalt road, and eventually make it to the finish on the beach. Dan, section 3, how was the Crusher?
People are gonna hate me. I didn't think it was that bad. Um, yeah, I mean, by that time I had taken quite a few. I was on the 20-minute snack time train, quite a few gels, and then at the top of the hour, I had started taking caffeinated gels with 100 milligrams of caffeine in them. And I've been hiking like as pretty consistently all of the like steeper hills that we had that day, and I feel like that time, like I'd been told about this hill so much that I'm like, I'm just gonna hike it. I'm not even gonna try to run it. And I think I knocked it out in about like 16 minutes. So like slower for a mile, but like what are we at 10 to 12% grade? And once again, I was surprised that there's like concrete slabs to go up. And so I just kept my pace consistent and knew I was going to hike it, got to the top after the little false summit, and then you keep going again. And I got to the top and I was like, great view. That went well. Let's keep going. And I did appreciate how close the aid stations were from basically at the bottom of that one to the top of that section, like really close together. So I knew that was a good time to catch back up on water, since my calves had basically told me that you're going to maintain this pace in this window. And if you go outside of that window faster or slower, you're going to regret it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, bizarrely, the Crusher is where I hit my peak. Finally, I stopped coughing about halfway through, and I was like, oh, I have a lot in reserve here, and I was able to breathe finally, and I was like feeling great. That changed over the. I just got got tired as we hit hour 6 and hour 7 and beyond hour 7. But Will, how was the Crusher for you?
Yeah, it lived up to its name. So it was the walker for me. And just trying to put one foot in front of the other, got the first quarter up all right. And then it really I started slowing down. And that's when I could feel like, yeah, I'm close to cramps on a lot of different muscles. And so we got up to the top, and you had told me about like a false summit, but I think that was like after the false summit. So I kept thinking there was going to be like way more coming, and we were going through, and that's when I just got to a point in which with my salt and whatnot, like I'd never had any of this experience before. So both of my legs completely cramped up, thighs and calves. And so I sat down and like, Bryan. And so you came around and rescued me. I stood back up again and got things sort of worked out so we could move, and kept moving, and realized, Dan, the way you described it, there's a certain pace I could keep where I knew I wasn't going to cramp, and a certain pace and leg distance I could move. And so I was doing that the best I could. And we got to the aid station, and that's when all these people whip into activity. They were so helpful. All the other ones, I was self-service. Oh, I got this. The last couple, I just don't even remember. I was like, could I have water? Could I have this? Could I have that? And people were giving me everything and opening it up for me. It was amazing. And I was like really appreciative of that. And then we got to the beast, and I was like, okay, we could go downhill. And so I got a pace going downhill, and then I could start to run again, or jog, or whatever it was, moving a little faster than walk. So, and I knew then, like, yeah, I'm going to make this thing. Like, I'm actually going to make it. So that felt pretty good there.
Will, was this your first attempt at an ultra?
No, I'd done a couple of our wacky ultras, the solstices, and those are all fairly flat and not at this kind of temperature. So, in hindsight and the training element, I'd done a lot of really long stuff, and I knew I could do that, but adding the height in especially near the end, that's what got me. And I realized, yeah, I had a lot of ones where I'd go up 1,500 feet in a run, but it would be across, say, 15, 18 miles. I should have been doing that at the end of the run instead. And I hadn't done that. So I'm like, I learned something.
You might also say that last section might be the most beautiful part, is coming down the beast, where the whole Atlantic, the vista of the entire Atlantic Ocean is sort of out there in front of you. If only we felt good enough to enjoy it. So we come to the end, and we come onto the Cane Bay beach. Dan much earlier than Will and I, and I think Dan had already had a cold plunge, probably had a couple of meals, but came right over, and we got hugs from all the people we knew. And then I wearily took my shoes and socks off and went straight into the ocean because A, I was hot, B, I smelled horrible, and C, I just wanted to sit down. And I found out where my chafing was immediately. That was very intense and lasted about 24 hours. But it was really nice to sit in the ocean. Then I talked to two surfers who were probably in their late 20s, early 30s, and they seemed suitably impressed with the effort that we had done that day, and said they would never do it. And I'm like, yeah, wait till you're our age. You'll get around to it. Will, what were your thoughts about arriving at the beach?
It was great to see our lovely brides there cheering us on, and everybody was excited to see us. And I couldn't wait to get my shoes off and jump into the water. And being a little windy, there are some waves. So going and sitting down in the surf, you're getting buffeted around a bit. So I thought maybe I should have done the cold plunge before that. I don't know, but I'm glad I was sitting down in the water and was pretty happy about that.
Dan, you had several hours to wait for us to arrive. What were you doing that whole time?
Easy now. It wasn't as long as you thought. I would say a hour. Um, I really loved that last stretch. The beast was hard to manage with like calf cramping and stuff, but it still allowed for a quicker pace, especially after my focus had been on all the uphills today. But I got to that last stretch and I was surprised um, how good I did feel because I was able to catch a few people on that last part, which they tell you it's flat. It's not. Let's be honest. It's rolling. Um, and that can mentally like hit you in the face again. Uh, but same experience, Brian. My mom was probably a quarter of a mile out from the finish line. Got to give her a high five on the way by because yes, I did smell and look awful at that time, just like everybody else does. They don't want to touch you. Straight through the finish line and straight into the ocean. Shoes and all. The only thing I ditched was my phone. And then very much what you said, this stinging and burning that came in, and I was like, oh, I did chafe today. Um, but the what I did in between crossing the finish line and when you guys came in was I hung out in the cold plunge for 10 to 12 minutes, basically until the guy was like, hey, there's only two of these, and you've been occupying one for a while. So could you share? And I'm like, oh, okay. Um, Tried to eat a little bit. Very typical of me, even though I had oranges and Coke at every station, my stomach's just not right at the end. And I was trying to get stuff in. I think I had like a sandwich that the cheese was melted on because it was in the sun for I don't even want to know how long. But cheering people in, hanging out with my family. Um, I got a kick out of it that when I crossed the finish line and came back to like where everybody was at, my 10-month-old nephew was passed out in a beach chair and is like, "Oh, I just ran a race." He doesn't care. He doesn't care at all. Um, yeah, but it was just nice hanging out on the beach and having that amazing view and good people around and cheering in other racers. So, yeah, I gave this is etched into my mind. I gave Brian a hug when he came in. I was like, "How you doing?" Do you remember what your answer was, Brian?
Not at all. No, what did
Not
I say?
good.
Not good. I wasn't doing good.
I was like, "But you're done. You finished.
Yeah.
You did it." And you're just like, uh, and I'm like, "Yep,
Yeah.
that's accurate."
I was drained, and my stomach basically shut down for the next 12 hours. You know, we all went to the same restaurant, the Landing, right across the street with that great view, and I could barely put anything in my mouth. And I mean, we were on the 30-minute snack break with gels, and sometimes I would double up. Like if I felt even the smallest pang of hunger, I would take two, just to sort of keep everything as topped off as possible. And I've never experienced it this severely where I could not eat. It was weird. So it took 12 or 24 hours to sort of get back to normal. Well, back to normal, quote unquote. The next day we sat on the beach all day and I did absolutely nothing. But that was the best recovery, actually.
It was.
Let's talk about recovery a little bit. So we went to this place called Rainbow Beach where we rented some chairs and umbrellas and very gentle, like we were protected from the wind. So, you know, every hour or so you could get up and flop in the water and then come back and lay down. And that, I think, wound up being really, really effective recovery because it kept me from doing anything active. But also, I don't know, being in the salt water and the warmth, I think, was great. Will, how did you feel, you know, the next day and after that?
I think it was the best remedy. You know, it wasn't in a cold environment. Was able to just be chill. I felt when we were playing cornhole, like I think my legs had loosened, all just doing that little bit of thing, little physical thing, which I'd never considered that to be physical as a sport, was perfect. Like the legs were feeling good, and having beer ready at hand. You know, I forgot to mention at the end, I didn't feel like eating, but the first two beers went down very easily, and I was really happy for those. And I was like, "Oh yeah, all right, I remember this." So, but yeah, that's I was surprised at how good my legs felt after everything, and it meant like trying to catch up on the salt and everything I had, but so I felt really good. Yeah.
Go ahead, Dan.
Uh,
How was your recovery?
we had a more of a, I would say, non-traditional, well, very similar to what you guys did. So since both my brother and I ran it, and we were both fairly effectively like moving too slow to be like out and about and doing touristy things, we were uh, voluntold that we were going to be watching the kiddo that day, and the three ladies that were with us were like, "We're going shopping. See you later. We're going to go have a girls' day." Uh, so yeah, that night of the race, once I was finally able to like get some food in my system, things started feeling better, and I slept. It was probably the first night I had a good night of sleep. Was the night of the after we finished running, and then my brother and I hung out at our Airbnb. Luckily, our Airbnb was at the top of one of the peaks, so we could see like panoramic views of the ocean, and we had a pool. So we spent a little time moving around in a saltwater pool, a little bit of time inside, just with a gentle breeze, and kind of like I think grazing is a great way to put it, of like just getting calories back in your body and hydrating appropriately. So not no cornhole or anything like that for us. We just kind of like slothed around for the day.
Yeah, I will say the cornhole happened very late in the afternoon, and I'm sure we did not look impressive. But it was the most movement we had that entire day. Well, hanging out by a pool with one baby who's not yet walking sounds pretty good. That's going to keep you from doing too much. So I think that might be a strategy that works. And I don't think anybody's going to feel sorry for any of us in that type of recovery mode. Saltwater pool with a panoramic view of the Atlantic, or on a beach with gentle waves and a bucket of beers. It's all pretty good.
Bucket of beer, baby. Yeah.
and really good fish tacos, I got to say. So general impressions, like obviously the question is, would you ever do it again? But just general impressions of the whole event, and would you do it again now that you're a few days having come back? Dan, go ahead.
Definitely. I think there's different ways that I would look to try to train. I think the way that we stacked the trip itself of race in the beginning, relax after that is a very good way to do that. I give huge credit to race director Kat for how she did things and how small town feel yet executed really well things felt. I feel like the volunteers were really there because they wanted to be there. Um, I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I will ever return to the island to race. I would like to go back to the island in general and just the other aspects of the island and its culture and how they do things. They're certainly not going to run out of any rum anytime soon. So that's nothing we need to worry about, but it's a very unique place, and I could see myself going back there. And if the opportunity arose to race there again, I would at a minimum deeply consider it, even though my partner would love to go on a vacation that doesn't involve a race beforehand.
I hear that. I think Andrea has liked the idea of getting me to go somewhere. The race is the bait, and then we get to go somewhere where she wants to go. But yeah, I'm also pretty worthless for a couple days afterwards. Will, post getting home, now you're in a snowstorm, and maybe ever thinking about going back?
Yeah, it hits at a really nice time to be there away from the snow, but the training up to it is all cold for us. And so, the kind of the way Dan said it, I would really rethink how I put things together. I think the effort I had was decent. I made it, but I do think, we joked about different times and whatnot. Like, I think we still have some times in us to do better than we did. And I think ways we could do it. And so that part of my mind works at it. And if we were doing a relay, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I think I could do any of those legs really well, myself having done it once. So I'm like, oh, that could be an option that would be a little less strenuous, you know. But I thought it was just so well done, and it's tough. Like when they say do epic shit, they mean it. And it's unusual that way because I've done a lot of things that were pretty flat. So it's something when you're done with it, you're like, wow, you really accomplished something big. So I really enjoyed that. And I like the fact that you bucked me up when I needed it. And despite you saying, hey, you could go on, I don't think I could do the beginning. I wasn't going to leave you on the side. So that was really great for me to be part of that.
Yeah, I really appreciated having a partner to run with as well. And I think, I had a rough 10 miles. You had a rough 10 miles, and we had a really good 11 in the middle. And how else is it going to go? I mean, that's an ultra for you. I will say this, for the 24 hours probably after it, I said, not only am I never going to do this race again, I am just not built for ultras. Clearly, I've done enough of them, and I'm bad at them constantly, and I'm horrible at them. And then slowly, I could do one leg of a relay. I mean, I would do that. I mean, why wouldn't I come back here? It's really nice. And then, like, within 36 hours, I was already scheming. I improved my training, between the last one and this one. Now I could really hone in and really attack it much better. So there we are. Who knows if it'll ever happen again, but it is strange the way the brain works and how forgetful we are of difficulty, especially physical difficulty. It's almost like after a couple days, you don't remember it happened. Go ahead, Dan.
The epiphany I had in the middle of the race, very similar to what you felt in the first 24 hours of like, oh, I don't need to do an ultra again. Mine was, I think I was 25 miles in or so, somewhere in that area, and my brain went to like, I don't need to run another 50-miler. Because like that was my intention, is like maybe I give it a couple years, I go back and do it. But like I was out there for 6 hours and 20 minutes, and that's going to change for every course you're on. But like I wasn't completely like hobbled or destroyed. The build for the training cycle was a lot smaller. So I definitely say I'm probably going to be running ultras again in the future. But I think a 50K is enough. I don't think I need to go any farther. And what were we doing? Why didn't the three of us sign up for a relay?
You know what? That's a good point.
Yeah, good.
That's a really good point.
Like, what are we doing, boys? We wanted to be out there for 6 or 7 hours? Go run 10 miles. High five handoff. See you on the beach.
Yeah, it is a long, 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 long day. Too long. Well, thank you all. I will just end with this. Does anybody have any races or events already in your future? I will say that I do not. I'm looking at it snowing very heavily outside and thinking, well, I'm not going to be running anytime soon. Certainly not outside. I don't have any places where I could go run outside with snow and ice on the ground. And single digits. Outrageous. Why would I do that? Dan, Will, any thoughts on future events?
I have a 25K trail race up in Lutsen, Minnesota. Again, same race that I did in May last year. I got in the lottery on that one. So that one's just shy of 25K. It's a 14-mile course. Hoping to improve on my time from last year, but I'm really looking forward to, taking about a month off and weightlifting, sauna, cold plunge, maybe rowing a little bit. Running around here right now isn't the safest. Single digits would be nice with what we have right now. But yeah, everything's covered in ice, and I'm ready to just take it easy for a moment, change my perspective on a couple things. I did apply for the trail marathon in September versus half the distance of the 50, but it's a lottery, didn't get in, and I'm not heartbroken that I'm not training for that.
Yeah, with the snow up here in New England, I'm ready to go skiing again and not be worried about my knees or my ankles or anything. So, looking forward to that for the next month and a half or so and connecting with people après. And then, yeah, and then I'll see what the spring offers. But Chris, kind of like Andy, was looking at what are some good halves that we could do in interesting places, and that would be pretty fun. So I think there's something in that cycle that there's going to be some creativity in the future. So I'll have to see what that looks like.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm sure we will find ourselves all at a race start again in the future. And again, Dan, thank you for putting the offer out and continuing to drop hints, not very subtle hints, for many months until you finally got someone to take the bait.
Sometimes you just gotta ask.
Hey, Peter. What'd you think?
Well, I mean, once again, I feel like you want to do a show without me.
No, I did a show without you.
There were a couple moments I would have shouted, interrupted, gotten in there.
Okay.
But
did it have to do with chafing mostly?
No, here's the note I wrote down.
Okay.
Because I did put pen to paper while listening. And what stopped me in my tracks was lower GI distress.
Uh-huh.
Which I'm going to call LGID now.
Okay.
Or LGID. Lower GI distress.
Had to go to the bathroom, Peter.
Yeah,
badly.
And everything was fine afterwards.
Significantly.
Was it so much better
painfully.
Afterwards? Also.
Duck walkingly.
Also. Mm-hmm. Of this about you, I know. You are king of the salt pills. They change your world.
They changed my world. Well, it did it for all three of us.
Right.
Let's not joke about that. I mean, Will was sitting on the side of the trail behind me.
It's dead to the world.
Well,
dead or dying.
Dying.
Yeah. And you went, here, Sonny.
Well, we got him back up.
Salt pill.
Got his legs moving, and then, yeah, he started chugging the salt, too.
Salt's everything.
Apparently. Well, and
we're mostly knows? Salt, you know.
Who knows what's going on? I mean, we were drinking a lot of water. That flushes you out.
Yeah.
You need the salt.
Yeah.
I don't know how it all works.
I take prosciutto with me now.
Not a bad idea.
It's a very thin meat. You can carry a lot of it.
I could have just chewed on salami or pepperoni or something.
The Roni.
Roni.
It was a great little recap from all three of you. They sound impressed. The Crusher does not sound like fun.
No, but, I mean, what we said was true. I think Dan was prepared for it. I mean, obviously, he's in phenomenal shape. For me, it's all I thought about for 3 years, and I was ready for it, and surprisingly got up it much easier than I expected. And it's also when I stopped coughing. I mean, I don't want to rehash the whole thing.
No, but you were like, sick as a dog. Let's be honest.
I was not sick as a dog, but I had
symptoms.
You had the linger.
I had the linger.
And it finally lifted. And as it was lifting, Will was descending into Cramp City. And so
it's a lot.
But it was fine. I mean we did it.
It makes it sound good. Like, it makes me want to do it.
It was great that we were together. Like, we would have had a far more miserable time if we weren't together. So, I mean, it was really good to have a partner.
I will also say 100% I'm in on a relay.
Yeah. The relay's the way to go.
That I could swing.
Yeah.
And I'll take the Crusher part. I don't care. You guys are babies.
You'll see.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, I don't know how you would even do it. Flip a coin?
No, I'll just take it. I'll be like a man. Sign up.
Well, maybe other people want the Crusher.
Maybe they do. Maybe they don't.
Maybe they do. Maybe they don't.
Anyway, thanks for sharing. That was a lot of info. What's on the horizon for you now?
As I said, I do not have any events in my future.
I think that's great. That's going to last for about 6 minutes.
Probably. I'll get bored and think up something else.
Yes, you will. and great work, and we'll hear about it.
Thank you. Dan, Internet Dan's a resident of Minneapolis.
Yes, I do.
And they're going through a lot right now.
They sure are.
And he just wanted to offer some assistance to anybody who would like it. So I'm going to play this little sort of public service announcement that he put together.
Yeah, it's important. Let's go.
I just wanted to take a moment. I feel like there is a lot of people in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and some major cities right now with the occupation of our space that is happening where you may not feel safe. And I think that is a valid emotion and concern. I have the privilege of being a white male that is well educated, and I have this level of safety that others do not. And with the very recent murder of a U.S. citizen, I feel stuck and I feel a pause because I don't know what I can do. What I have come up with is that if you need an escort, if you need a safe place to be, there's multiple areas that I can help you get to. If you feel like you need something that makes feel life, quote unquote, feel normal, and you want to go for a walk or a run, just reach out to me. I'm very responsive on social media. You can find me at RunDanimalRun on Instagram, and I will either be there with you personally or I can connect you with a large running organization of people who are very supportive and active in our community to help you feel safe. If there is a space that you need during the workday, my clinic is a safe place for you to be as well, with a very supportive community and coffee shop right next to that if you do not wish to hang out on a couch in a chiropractic clinic. Just know that there are people out there that care and that can help you. And there's many local organizations that are benefiting the community as well. If you do not feel that it is safe for you to be active at a protest or out in the community, there are many businesses and food shelves that can either serve as a volunteer opportunity or accepting donations is food, supplies, or cash if you are able to contribute. Just know that we're a strong community and you're not alone.
Thanks, Dan. Emotions range from frustration, sadness, anger, bafflement, indignation, and scared. And you guys are in the middle of it again in Minneapolis. Feels like we were just here a few years ago. And so thank you for offering that to folks. And yeah, it is a horrible feeling to feel like you're not safe going outside of your house. So I appreciate that. And I know, the most recent events happened right near you in a place that you're very familiar with. And that, I think you alluded to, not the same at all, but the marathon bombing. And for any of us who know downtown Boston, it's not like you hadn't been in all of those places a million times. And it rips the familiarity and safety away from you and sort of leaves you a shell of yourself, or yourself as without a shell, whichever the way you feel about it. So I appreciate that. I will also say that the artist in residence, you can look at her on Instagram at Gould Homestead, is offering some tokens of appreciation for people who donate to causes that are helping the people of Minneapolis. And you can learn more about that on her Instagram. All right, Dan, stay safe. Not only is it cold out, but it is frightening out there. So take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones and keep doing good.
And thank you for the opportunity to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Bryan, as we hit stop on this recording and you do your magic and I shove it through the tubes out to the people's ears.
Your holes.
We're about to get clobbered again. A second storm. What's happening?
Bomb cyclone. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know. Nor'easter.
Yeah, we're going to get it. It's fine. It's winter in New England.
This is what we do.
This is what we do. And thank goodness we're not training for the Boston Marathon.
Cut to all those people who are listening to the show right now.
Sorry, guys.
Just yelling at us, throwing their earpods away.
You know what? Here I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
If you live in New England, especially Boston or North or whatever,
yeah,
doesn't matter.
DC on up.
And you are training for the Boston Marathon, either as a time runner or a
charity runner.
Or as a charity runner.
Yeah.
You know there's the possibility that you're running in the dark, you're running on ice, you're running on snow. All of that is possible. Now, we've had a few years where it's felt like California, but it doesn't feel like California anymore. Not this winter.
Not this one.
So that's just part of the deal.
Yeah, the sun goes down after 5 o'clock today.
Yeah.
And it comes up before 7 tomorrow.
Yeah, do all your running at your lunch hour.
Here it comes.
On a treadmill.
See you in April.
Have fun with your next 18-miler.
No, don't slip.
Hey, don't slip.
No, don't slip.
Don't slip.
F ice.